Go with that, a lot of that, when you say receipts and stuff, for instance.
Well, no, but all the backup for it, okay? Yeah, I understand. Anything we're committed to. And any and all expenditures are to be submitted with documentation prior to the April 2015 board meeting. So that's when all the receipts and everything are going to be due. Report on board absences. You've all got a spreadsheet. I'd like you to verify that anything that behind your name is correct. And if it is not, please let Donna Zero know.
Excuse me, Mike.
Yes.
Would you qualify what constitutes an excuse?
There really isn't anything. You really hear it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're deathly ill, all right, we're going to take that into consideration. All right, you were a brand new board member, you have some plans, okay, you take that into consideration. Because you have plans before, you told me what your plans were before you accepted the board position.
Okay.
Zach Laura, he's on military, that's an excused absence. That's about it. Okay. All right. The disaster fair is going to be, I think that's a terrible name, the disaster fair. Disaster preparedness fair?
Yes, it's disaster. We got caught with that about 7 years ago. So it's disaster preparedness fair.
On the 27th, and our emergency preparedness committees worked really hard on this, and so we want to establish who will be working that and the hours that you will be working. I have volunteered. What we're going to need is we need 2 people from 9 to 11. We need 2 people from 10 to 1. And then 2 more people from 1 to 3. Okay? So I will be more than glad to help set up because I'm kind of used to setting up from 9 to 4. I mean 9 to 11, I'm sorry. Okay, so Don and I will have 9 to 11. Okay, who wants to volunteer for 10 to 1? You need 2 people for 10 from 10 to 1.
I can do it if you want.
Okay, 1 to 3?
Yeah.
Okay, who else from 1 to 3? 1 to 3? And then Bill, I'll try to come back down and help you break down.
Thanks.
2.
2 o'clock. Yeah. So it's really, the 1 to 3 is like a 1 hour shift. So 11 to 1. September 27th.
It's okay to have stakeholders come too.
I'll do 10 to
10 to 1? And Rob. Ray and Rob, okay. Great. One of the things that's very interesting, the surveys are coming back. We're getting a lot of surveys back. And it is amazing to me the number of people that actually put down, no, we are not prepared, and the number of people go, well, I don't really know if I'm prepared. After we got totally devastated in the last earthquake, that people don't know, and we've got these guys working as hard as they can to try to get everybody ready. So I think this is going to be a very good outreach opportunity for us, and it's going to be an opportunity for us to help our neighbors be prepared when the next disaster comes. So if anybody wants to sign up for any of the times, please see me after the meeting. Everything else is motions here. Jan, do you want to give a plum report?
Sure. Plum Committee meets, for those of you who are knowledgeable, third Monday of the month, 2 o'clock, and you're all welcome. We are in the process of working on a couple of projects. One of them is a potential for a elderly care facility on Rinaldi and Shoshone. I'd like everyone to be familiar with that.
Also, as I was getting in the car to come down here, got an email that the people that are expecting to put that up are now holding a public meeting next Monday from 6 to 8 p.m. We had heard none of this. I just got aware of it. I am in the process of working with Agnes, my co-chair. We had asked them to let us do a public meeting in September so we would have time to notify the community, get people back from vacation. I don't personally feel Monday night is a great time. It's very quick. It's the day before LA public schools start. There's still a lot of people on vacation. If the board would please notice their emails, I will send an email out to you later this week when we know if that is going to happen or not, and then whether or not we're going to do another one at a later date when we can basically command what's going on. If you have any comments that you would like to make, stakeholders, board members, to us, the Plum Committee, about your feelings about this, please let us know, and there will be more information coming up. It is scheduled, and they are scheduled to be at our next Plum meeting, which is 2 weeks from now. Just so that you also know some of the other things that we're working on in the Plum Committee right now are, there was a suggestion for a possible dog park in the North Valley. This is being worked on by our Parks Rep, Bill Cotter. We in Plum are also going to work with you if there's anything you need on that. But we've been notified twice from a concerned stakeholder as well as somebody else that this is an interest to do in the North Valley. So we're looking into that as well. Just be aware that we as a Plum Committee only meet once a month, but Agnes and I talk about every third day. We're very well at what's going on in the area, and if there's anything you would like us to know, please contact me, email me, call me, whatever works best for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. Public safety, where you want to?
Yeah, we're also at the Public Safety Committee looking for new projects. So if any of you have anything that you think comes under public safety, please let us know. Let me know, or any of the members. Anybody's interested in joining the committee, we'd love to have you. Second Tuesday in the office, 2 p.m. in the afternoon. And I'll turn it over to Bill for the subcommittee on disaster preparedness.
Say that again.
This mic is not real good. How's that? Better or far away? Disaster preparedness. Subcommittee.
Yeah, okay. We meet the third Tuesday at our offices. There's some 1/3 page flyers over there if you're interested in dropping by. This last month, we had a fantastic speaker, Erin Huey, who spent a lot of time doing a lot of things as well as teaching advanced first aid. She's an IT instructor, training for Red Cross. It's a multitude of things, but this particular meeting, she talked about utilities. So we passed her on the little utility card that shows what colors the graffiti of the street means, representing what type of utility is underground that they've marked, how to mark it. But more importantly, she showed what happens when you don't pay attention. A backhoe totally engulfed in flames because the crew said dig, dig, dig without finding out where the gas pipe was and blew up and took the driver out with it. We saw various examples of illegal taps to the utility. one coming from your home that goes through the meter. Someone actually used auto jumper cables to try to bypass the meter. Someone else, we think it was near a industrial area, but ran some PVC up the pole to the transformers, and we're talking about primary voltage, 4,000 to 12,000 volts, whatever it happened to be at that time, trying to tap off of that. I hate to think what happened. We tried to plug his hairdryer into that one. So just very careful, dig alert, the 811 number, anytime you suspect you're going to be digging more than a few inches, even in your own yard, call a number, find out if there's any utilities buried. You might be surprised. As we got a report last time, and I was going to ask you about that, according to Rob, when they were working on trenching for the sewer for Sunshine Canyon, one of the reports was they found a bunch of pipes that they didn't know were there and had to find out who they were. My question was, how did you find out who they were if they weren't even marked? I doubt if there's labels on the pipe. But we also learned from Aaron that there are some utilities lines that are, for lack of a better term, classified, so that they don't tell you where they are and such. But something very important to watch for, same thing with your gas lines, electric lines, anything like that. So our next meeting is third Tuesday. We will have Captain Stacy Gurlitt, previously of the CERT Commander of the CERT Unit, now working with the Alliance under Homeland Security. She's going to talk about anything you want to ask her. She's very forthwith and has lots of great information, especially inside scoop on how this all is working. So look forward to seeing some of you there. That's it for that part. Yeah.
After seeing the flood that the DWP had to deal with on Sunset Boulevard, and knowing that there's a pipe that size running down the middle of Balboa Boulevard, I'd like to know if we can request that the DWP figure out where the valves are in our neighborhood before they have to go and look for them and let the water run for 4 hours like on that last break. So if there's some way that the safety committee could ask them to please survey our neighborhood, figure out where the gas lines are, the water lines, and have it on a map before they have to start dealing with the crises, I think that would be a good ounce of prevention for us.
There's a couple of issues with that. Each utility is responsible for their own line. So DWP does not map where the gas lines are and vice versa. That's the purpose of 811, which is Underground Service Alert, which does come out and map them. Each utility has their own. They do talk to one another. We can ask them. But, several years ago when Homeland Security started flexing its muscle, we used to be able to look online and see that stuff. Now they consider it a security issue, and they took a lot of that stuff offline. So I don't know that we're going to get it ourselves. We can certainly ask DWP, but I think in our area, it wasn't a question of not knowing where the valves was so much as it was the huge amount of water in the pipe, having to turn it off in such a manner that it doesn't rupture other pipes, controlled shutdown. One of the reports I read said that it took over 11 valves to stop flow into that one pipe. And you can imagine, they're scattered across, they're giant 2, 3, 4, 8 foot across butterfly valves. You don't just crank them off. When I was at the DWP salvage yard, I saw a valve there, and labeled on top it was 132. That was the number of turns it took just to turn that one valve. So you can imagine what some of the others are like. But Ray, if you want to, put that on an agenda or something, or say, hey, DWP, do you know where everything is? I expect their answer will probably be yes, but we will ask them.
Well, they just went on record when the event was happening, saying they had to go looking for the valves, and I not what you heard.
I heard that Bill heard that they couldn't shut the valve.
Yeah, no, there's so much pressure.
I read that too. That once they found them, I don't want to get into the debate about it. I think we're cutting out of the times if you want. They were saying that part of the issue was that they had to take time for the crews to get there. They had to then find the valves, and then they had to turn them off in a sequence so they didn't blow other things out. So I'm just asking, since we have a line that big, which previously ruptured when we had the last earthquake, it's just good to know that we don't have that amount of water flowing for that amount of time. We don't have the luxury of having what's called a UCLA to take the flooding. I hate to think of it going to houses of people living along the Granada pipe.
Well, the saving grace is it's all downhill.
Yeah, somebody lives down there.
Well, no, I mean,
It's the freeway.
It would end up on 19.
It is, it's a valid concern. We'll, pursue that, I suppose, would be the best question. But, keep in mind, too, that the pipe that ran down Balboa was MWD trunk line. And like everything else, they build these, there was a 1921 steel riveted pipe. Be curious to see how they patch all that out. But, yeah, we'll do that. Any other questions? Okay. Which means you should have some galoshes and raincoat and easy exits from your house, and don't buy any that are below street level. Thanks, Ray.
Okay. Bill, do you want to talk about recycled water?
Anybody else want to sign our signing list?
Bill?
Okay.
We have four. You know what, Mr. Hertzberg, we don't want to keep you here forever, you don't want to stay, so can we yield the floor to Mr. Hertzberg for his public comment, and then we'll talk about RIWG and then we'll go to promotions.
You can get the water.
Thanks for being here, Scott. Thank you very much. Bob, do you want to say something real quick?
Sure. I want to tell me what I should time watch. Well, thank you.
2 minutes.
2 minutes, I can't do anything, and I lost my name in 2 minutes. I'll do as close as I can, guys. I apologize. No, I just wanted to come and stop by and always say hello. I said, and to let you know, we had an election in June. At that time, the Senate seat, it's the 18th district, which before used to be Alex Padilla, but it changed. The district now goes all the way south to, mention this, to Mulholland. And so the district, literally, what we've now done with the redistricting commission, which we created, was create 2 valley districts, an East District and a West District. This is part of the East District, which was Padilla, and now I'm running for, won the primary in so far, and then the other district's Fran Pavlin in the West District. This goes, the farthest most western portion is Cal State Northridge, and then it goes in, takes in part of Burbank, goes to the top of the valley, and then all the way along Mulholland. And the southern border is Mulholland over to the Skirball. And so, I think most people know, in city elections, just give me a second, in city elections, what happens is, if you get 50% plus 1, you automatically win because they're nonpartisan races. But under the Constitution, when they're partisan races, we now just go open primary at top 2. So I have to run again against somebody I already ran against last time. And so the gentleman was running on the Republican side, I'm a Democrat. So I'm just out working hard, talking to everybody, and doing homework. And we're going back, I think everybody remembers when I served in government before, when I had a community guy, with every organization, and I'm going back through and rebuilding that. And we got people walking precincts and just doing all the whole hard work and also just really drilling in on issues. Today I spent lunch with the head of the Metropolitan Water District, spending a lot of time on the water issues which are critical to us, and just literally just doing the homework, taking the time now over the year and a half of running for office to really be prepared to be an effective representative for all of us in the Valley. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm just stopping by, going everywhere. And it's
Boy, did you practice that or what?
I think that was slow or something.
Yes.
We think of a recent proposal, very recent, about reintroducing grizzly bears in Southern California, which would affect the eastern part of the valley.
It's so recent I haven't heard of it. I don't know anything about it. I didn't see it. I missed it. I can't believe I missed it. I don't know. Beats the heck out of me. I don't know. Do we have any other questions? Anything else that you'd like to discuss? I've got an office, and even though I really don't have much of a race by virtue of normal political standards, and all my friends in politics are telling me I'm nuts, we've got a full-fledged operation going because it's about respect and learning and doing the homework, and we're not stopping. We're not stopping for a minute. So that's why I'm here. I'll be back, as they say in the movies.
Good to see you, Mr.
Thank you so much.
Megan, did you want to say anything?
Hi there. My name is Megan Collier, and I'm going to apologize ahead of time. I'm actually running out of the meeting when I'm done speaking because I'm getting married on Saturday. So I've got a lot of preparations going. Excuse me? I will be back to work next Friday, not to worry. So what can go wrong? No. So I just have a couple of quick updates from the council member. First off, I wanted to share with the members of the Granada Hills Neighborhood Council, we just published our 3rd year in review. I can't believe that it's already been 3 years. Is my time up already? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, no.
I can't believe it's only been 2 minutes.
Board members, that's right here.
So we published our 3rd year in review, and there's a lot of great information in here about what we've accomplished in the last 3 years. I brought some copies on the back, and I think we've also dropped them off at the Granada Hills Chamber office. This contains information about both community initiative and legislative initiatives that the council member has introduced. And I think actually on the front, I think the Granada Hills community may be a little overrepresented because we've got a cleanup in Aliso Canyon. We have the Yarmouth and Chatsworth signal with our very own Richard Fisk front and center there. And then we also have Joe's Cafe in Granada Hills on our cover. So there's certainly been quite a lot going on in this community. Oh, and OK Help Signs, Bill Hopkins. I think you're just to the left. You just missed the photo. Next year. There we go. So please take a look at all that. I did want to also say council's been on recess for about 3 weeks over the summer, but last week Councilmember Englander held a press conference with Assemblymember Mike Gatto. The City of Los Angeles voted to support AB 47, which would be a statewide yellow alert or Medina alert system. And you've probably heard me talk about these Medina alert systems, where it's kind of like an Amber Alert, but for hit and run accidents. And as you all know, hit and run accidents are very prevalent in the City of Los Angeles and often go unsolved. So these alerts would be similar to an Amber Alert and say hit and run at so-and-so. If you have information, call Bill Hopkins. No, I'm kidding. The other update that I wanted to share with you is that Council Member Englander was successful in creating and amending the special events ordinance to allow for food truck events. And this effort was led for many years by the community of Granada Hills and our very own Mary with the Granada Hills Grove Fest. But what it would basically allow us to do is use your special event procedure, so we'd have to still notify residents in the area or businesses in the area, and identify parking for food truck events, which is something that we haven't been able to do in the past and caused kind of lack of parking in the community and fights and things like that. So we cleaned it up a little bit, so hopefully soon we'll be posting no parking, I think, on Fridays, and I don't recall the exact times, but it's approximately from like 4 o'clock to 10 o'clock. So we'll be able to reserve the parking for the weekly food truck events that are so prevalent in the Granada Hills South area, but I know many people in the north are affected as well. And so those are the updates that I have. If anyone...
Thank you. A couple questions. Councilman's view on the ordinance regarding vending in parks.
Yeah, that, I think, I don't know, we just, that's scheduled to come to council, but I don't know if it's been agendized yet. I don't know that the council member has taken an official position on it, though I know that it's been a concern in our parks, especially when we hold events, and we want to make sure that food in our parks is safe for distribution. So that we certainly have some concerns, and what's happened is oftentimes people illegally vend in the parks. It's not, unfortunately, the municipal code has been has been suspended for a few years because of some challenges in the courts. So we're looking to actually get the municipal code clarified so that people can vend in parks, but they need to have permits and they need to do their proper procedures.
Just one other question. What is, I know Mitch was very involved with Save Our Streets. What's his view of the controller's audit of the Department of Public Works? Has he looked at that and had any comment on that?
Yeah, no, we don't have an official position or comment with regards to the audit, but we are all for efficiencies in city government, and that the audit certainly pointed out some areas in which we can be more efficient. So hopefully some of those recommendations will get taken in to consideration in moving forward.
Yeah, on that exact point, the audit said there was $190 million not collected in fees for people that had done work in the streets. And I would just like to know if your office has any intent to, take a position on that, because $190 million would go a long way towards fixing sidewalks, streets, and the rest of it. So the articles I read seemed that the city was saying, that the street services people were saying it's up to the city attorney to pursue. I would just like to see if there's some impetus to push the city attorney to try to get at least a portion of that money so it could go into fixing some of the streets.
Yeah, there's that. I think what you're referring to is through our contract administration division, and actually in Save Our Streets, that was some of the recommendations that the council member put forward, and we actually already knew that information, that the city isn't doing a great job of holding accountable those agencies, and I forget the number he knows, but it's over 100 agencies have, how much is it?
It's about 100.
Yeah, about 180, I think, different organizations have the rights to cut into City of Los Angeles streets, but they're not really tracked. No one does. I mean, the city doesn't do a great job of following up on, permits and making sure that everyone has their paperwork and fees paid. So that's something we knew as part of Save Our Streets. Actually, the audit contained a lot of information that was already published in Save Our Streets. So though the information, it's a different way of telling the story, a lot of the information we already knew through our year-long Save Our Streets investigation. And if you haven't read Save Our Streets, though it's not a topic at hand, it certainly has a lot of great relevant information as well.
Well, knowing about it is fine. I'm just suggesting that the $190 million to go and pursue it in the past would be a good idea. It would also be a good idea for everybody digging holes in the future. So since the street services people didn't seem particularly worried about it, I mean, he made the comment that wasn't his worry. I'd just like to ask whether or not Mitch can, do something with focus on it.
In Save Our Streets, we had some policy items for moving forward, and I know some of them will be adopted, even though the plan won't be. We had some recommendations, and I think it changed the number of years in which we were asking agencies to hold off on cutting into city streets and ask for a lot more updates. So, like I said, not new information, but important information that the city should act on.
Megan, no one said it.
Yes.
Okay. Ryan doesn't seem to know what I mean.
We should. Can you get a recess so we can go out?
Yeah. I mean, they have that all cut down so that people could make a turn and drive right in.
Uh-huh.
And there were supposed to be curb cuts.
Right.
That's why the handicap railings are down the sides.
Yeah.
And now it's back to where it goes up like this again.
Okay.
And
I'm going to drive by on my way home today, and I know
it's
Brian.
supposed to look just like a street, like a city street. You know, they make a left-hand turn right there. Because that hump is going to slow people down. And our whole idea of putting that signal in was to speed traffic in and out.
Right. Yeah.
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 They put the hump back and they got it all the way down and then they put it back down. No, I was just
No, I know. Did you get Brian's email?
Yeah, he said he didn't see it.
Right. And you had in contact. Okay. All right. I'll make sure he connects with you. Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Megan.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, we're going to move along here, and Scott, thank you so much for running it down. I know you're not feeling well, so nominating committee.
Thank you. I hope you guys don't mind that I'm seated. I have 3 broken ribs, and although I'm moving around and getting places, as of yesterday, it's still hard to get up and down. Very quickly, committee report. We have 5 potential candidates that over the next couple of weeks we will begin to interview. If you know of anybody, thank you, Bill. If you know of anybody who's interested in being on our board or joining any of our committees, please let me know. I have a fabulous committee. We're 4 of us. We're working very hard, and I just want our board and everybody to know that we are working on getting board members. We are working on getting good, strong, come to event board members. So if you are not hearing from us, know that we are doing our job behind the scenes. And as I said, we have about 5 people that are interested in interviewing with us over the next few weeks. My most important business for the evening is to present one new candidate. I would like to present to you Mr. Rob Sherman, who is here from the landfill to take our landfill seat, which is a very important seat. We need somebody to fill this. Rob has just moved here with his family from Seattle, so those of you who don't know, welcome him to Los Angeles, where they seem to be enjoying themselves. Rob is working as a general manager right now, and his responsibilities include oversight of 6 transfer stations and 1 landfill. Before moving into the waste collection business, Rob worked in the airline industry. Please keep in mind that anytime we have a new board members, we need you not only to welcome them this evening, but to keep a new board member up to date on everything that's going on. Rob has a wife who he's married to for 28 years and 2 adult children. And I also say, my kids would kill me if I said that. One is turning 25 next week. I'm just really amazed by the whole thing. Anyway, we would like to take a vote of the board so that we can put Rob Sherman on our board, and I'm sure he will be an excellent addition to our group.
Jerry, just say that the nominating committee moves to...
Okay. The nominating committee would like to make a motion that we approve Rob Sherman as our District 1 rep. Thank you.
We don't need a second from the committee. Any conversation, any questions for Rob? All right. We'll do a roll call vote. That's okay. Can we do that? Yeah.
Okay. Mike?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
You know what? I'm sorry. We also have the magic statement here. I just have to find it. If Okay. If there are no objections from the board, we would like to call the vote unanimous in support of the motion, and the minute taker will indicate a yes vote from all board members present on the vote form. All in favor? So moved. Rob?
Thank you. Congratulations, Rob. Welcome.
Thank you, Rob.
And thank you to the committee for doing this, and we will continue.
All right, moving along. From the Executive Committee, a motion to approve the Granada Hills North Neighborhood Council office lease from 7/1/14 to 6/30/15 at 11139 Woodley with the Geld Group. The lease will be paid monthly for a yearly total cost of up to $14,500. Yes, Bill.
Item number 4, perhaps?
Item number 4.
Approval of ordinance?
We can come back to that. I'm just going to move down. Okay, any conversation on the office? Okay. Just as a board member, I'm going to say that I think that our office is a terrible waste of the money the city gives us to do things for this community. If we could find a subleaser or another tenant to split the rent, I feel a lot better about it. We have made arrangements that we can have for places to have every committee meeting. The Odyssey Restaurant has been very gracious, and Ralph's Church will hold other meetings. And if that's all we're using the office for, basically, is for meetings, we're throwing away $14,700 of community money. Anybody else have any comment?
Did you say the Odyssey said it can be? Where else would other things, if we got rid of the office, where would things like the material be held, or telephones, things along that line?
Self-storage locker. We go to a Google phone, all right, that will take messages for us. One of us could carry it, and actually have a live person answer. There's no ways around it.
One thing I think might help put it in perspective is if we kept a log in the office and recorded, say, over a month, how much it was actually used. Okay, do we have any report?
I just did just a cursory search on it. The greatest number of meetings we've ever had in that office in 1 month was 7. And the officer said that they're fine with 6. They probably know more. And we would have to pay them something. Okay, they can't just give us the space. We have to pay them something. Jeff Grove said that, so we give them $100 a month. Jan?
Why I totally appreciate and understand the budgetary constraints, and I do understand everything you're saying. As the chairperson of the Plum Committee, I have to let you know that we have used the office to do meetings between us, to look at things. We keep a lot of stuff there that I don't know where we would keep. Keeping it in the storage facility would not be the most appropriate place. I personally will not go alone to a storage facility to pick things up. So I think as somebody who runs a committee that is important, that meets, I can appreciate the financial of the office. I could see us possibly sharing it, but I would not be in favor of giving it up. I think that all the files and all the things we keep that are private, that we do use, are needed to be somewhere where we or anybody else working with us can use them.
Any other comments? Sid?
I tend to agree with Mike about the expenditure, but have we an alternate plan, basically, to replace the office? We have meetings there, we store it there, we have equipment there that's used, and to me, I think it is a lot of money, but do we have an alternate? Are we obligated to this lease? Can we do it month by month, or does it have to be a year?
We can Jeff is writing that in that we can cancel with a month's notice.
My feeling is, in that case, I think we should go ahead, but I think we should look at an alternative plan and bring it to the board to see if the board would approve that.
And as far as storage goes, Mission Hill Self-Storage, which is on Rinaldi, across from, right next to Holy Cross Hospital, they have a set of doors that are right outside of the office. And that office has somebody there about 12 hours a day. And it's a forward front. You don't even go into the gated part of the office, or the complex. And we were talking to them about if we could maybe get one of those. And they haven't gotten back to me, but therefore, if somebody were to go there, they can call the office and say, is somebody in the office? And they say, yeah. And they say, I'm going to be over there about half an hour. Would you please stay in the office? And then you have somebody that's actually on property, keeping an eye on your safety. So, okay. Jim?
Yeah, Hello? Okay. As the outreach chair, I think it's really nice and really beneficial to have an office. I know that Granada Hills South does not have an office, and we're always looking for places to meet. The other thing I think we can do is utilize the office much better, maybe having open hours so our stakeholders can come there and tell their opinions and pick up literature that we have and drop off things to us too. So I think the office, although it is very expensive, relatively we're getting a good price on it, real estate wise, and I think it is an asset. So at least until the 6/30/2015, I'm all in favor of it.
Hey, Jim, why don't you talk to the outreach chair at Granada Hills South and see if he can't move the board to go off the office?
Actually, I'm pressing him all the time on that. It would be nice. And then the other thing is, well, it would also be nice to get more power for our neighborhood council and our districts if we have shared meetings with other nearby neighborhood councils in CD12. And I think we've talked about that with some of the members of the board. And then that way you can see your planning and land use from all around can go there, because not too many other places have an office, and it is something that can set us out, standing in front of others.
Go ahead, Jen.
In regard to sharing it with someone, I know we have looked into sharing it with another neighborhood council. Is there anything that restricts us from using it with other people that are not neighborhood council? Can that office be shared?
I'd have to ask Jeff Brill that.
Having our material in there, sharing with somebody else, I don't know if that would be an issue.
That would be the problem. I just have to ask Jeff Brill if we can legally sublease, there's stuff out there other than another city agency.
And is it an issue with the neighborhood council people? My concern would be, would it be an issue with Dunn?
No, Dunn has already told us that it would work with us. Because it's only 1,500 feet from Granada Hill South. Mr. Kuzma, did you want to
I know I didn't fill out a speaker card, but may I make a comment?
You can make a quick comment on this issue.
Yes, sir.
One of the things that I've always felt uncomfortable about with the Granada Hills North Neighborhood Council is the expenditure on the office. I have to tell you, when I look at the fact it was probably okay when the budget was $50,000, but when it went to $37,000, it probably is something that should have been re-examined as to how necessary it is. Mike, you did some work and that was great. And it was also suggested that, the board look into how much it would cost to use an alternative facility to cover a maximum of 7 meetings per month. And I think that's very important. I don't think a decision needs to be made tonight on this until you know a little bit more about what your replacement facilities might be. I don't know what Dunn would say about sharing the neighborhood council office with naturally the South, but as a stakeholder, I would certainly object to it because it's very clear that the meetings have to happen within the jurisdiction boundaries of the neighborhood council, and for us to go out, certainly Dunn could say it's okay, but it wouldn't make me happy.
Thank you. Bill, you have something else?
Yeah, if we did want to let anybody else use the office, has anybody resolved any liability issues?
That would be my question, Jeff Brill, and that would be the main question, because if we had another neighborhood council using it, it would still be the same city liability.
Okay, but when we're talking about subletting it, are you looking for other neighborhood organizations like Boy Scout Troop or anybody else that might want to contribute?
Actually, I have not looked.
Because if you want, I'll be glad to work with you on some of these issues. I think right now the office is a good idea. If there's other options and we could find out, if we can market it, great. But if we're told we can't market it because of liability issues, then there's no sense pursuing some of those. So I'd be glad to work with you to explore and see what some of our options are.
We'll knock off a quick note to Jeff Bill tomorrow, and I'll copy you.
Right.
Yes, Jan?
I want to comment really quickly on the comment made. Yes, we do. In Plum, we are working with other neighborhood councils. In fact, tomorrow night, there's a meeting of the Porter Ranch Council that I'm hoping to get to. So that's something we can look at. Also, I'd like to see us trying to have some events, spending our money doing something else before we would get rid of the office. The last thing we want to do is give the money back to the city for not using it when that office for some of us and our committees and our stakeholders could be made. And Jim, I'd like to see outreach get to the point where we can be able to use the office. We did many years ago for a while try doing some open houses and having some events, and I think that may help us publicize ourselves to our community and get our community more involved. So again, another reason to try to keep that office and make it work for us and others.
Anybody else? Okay. You mark it up? Okay, we're going to drop one each time. Bill Cotter. You're taking the vote.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Okay. Greenwald, no. Sid.
Yes.
Bill Hopkins.
Yes.
Bill Willenberg.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Ray. Karen. That was a yes for Karen. Vanessa.
No.
Jan.
I'm going to ask what we're voting on.
Elise.
Oh, yes.
Donna. Oh, I'm sorry, Jim Summers.
Yes.
Donna.
Yes.
Mike Chikadakis.
No.
And Rob?
Is he eligible?
He's
No,
eligible.
he hasn't taken financial.
Oh, that's right, you've got to take financial
I
training.
believe you've got 60 days from being seated before you can no longer vote on having taken that. And he has already taken that for his wife.
Okay, good.
So,
So Rob?
No.
No. Tell me yes.
3 no, 1 abstention, and 9 yes.
Okay, motion carries. I'll let Jeff Brill know to go ahead and send the list to y'all. Let's move back up to approval of the July board minutes. Did everybody read the minutes?
I made one correction on item 2, the date of the National Night Out, which is tonight. I had the second down instead of this, so that's been changed. I didn't receive any corrections from anyone.
Bill?
I have a couple of comments on the minutes. The first one is, and it doesn't say their minutes. All agenda items are subject to discussion and possible board action. Also, on the back page, item F, 1 board vacancies. Should be something to the effect of that Rob Sherman will be presented to the board as a nominee for District 1. You can't say that he will be nominated and seated because that's presupposing the board made a
What have
vote.
we nominated? Just take the NC out.
Presented for nomination. Yeah.
Okay.
And just a little minor one down under G at the very last line, the third class, the one, couple columns off the one we're missing.
And Bill, you've had quite a while to review, so.
Yeah, and we didn't get the minutes of the treasurer's report or financial officer before tonight, so.
Please get your comments back on the minutes, so down on that one. Okay, all in favor of the minutes as amended? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions?
One abstention, I wasn't here.
Okay. Alrighty. So we've already done 2, 3, 4, and 5. Treasurer's report.
everyone has one now. I was not able to get it out. I apologize for that. It's simply stating that there's $37,000 in our beginning budget. No money has been spent. It changes to those budget balances on page 2 as presented and approved by through our budget 2 meetings ago. So it is just simply a blank slate. I just noted that there is in expenditures, although it's a prior fiscal year, I just wanted it noted that there was $3,000 paid for the printing in June, but late in June, or in July, but for the June expenses. So it has no effect on the $37,000 start. So this is really a blank slate budget at this point. Page 2. I mentioned page 2 has the budget items, the budget numbers as the categories are all on page 2. The categories are presented as approved in the budget that was presented to the board 2 months ago.
All right. This is financial, so it'll be roll call. And we will start with Michael Greenwald. Yes. Sid? Yes. Bill Hopkins?
Yes.
Bill Willenberg?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Ray Pollock?
Yes.
Karen? Vanessa?
Yes.
Jan?
Yes.
Jim Summers?
Yes.
Donna Zero?
Yes.
Rob Sherman?
Yes.
Mike Chippadakis?
Yes.
Bill Cotter?
Yes.
Okay. All right, financial officer report.
Well, technically, there's no report. The budget was approved on June 9th. I sent an email out to the executive board, just so you guys know, to keep the board up to date. Dunn requires us to submit online our strategic plan, our outreach survey, and our budget. And it's got to be submitted online. It must be done by September 1st. Otherwise, we will lose our funding. So that needs to be done in the next, obviously, 3.5, 4 weeks.
Let's target to have it done by the end of next week. Okay, and I'll have to look at it to find out how much input we're going to need from other people.
I'll go back and get the email, and I'll forward it to the board.
Okay. And is it a template or what?
Yeah, you just go on the link online and just start answering questions. We did it last year.
All right. All right, so, yes, Sid. Okay, well, on strategic plan, we have to get it done. Everybody take a look at it, all right? Filter me any emails that you think are, important to include, and have those to me by Friday. I will try to recap them and get it ready to go by Tuesday, and try to have it submitted by Friday. No. Well, this year, I've never seen last year, so if anybody has a copy of it, shoot it to me. Okay? Yeah. Thanks, Bill. Okay, so we don't have any approval to, we don't have to approve anything, Mike? Okay. Yes, that's it.
I just want to know what the implementation checking account is going to take place.
Signatures were done on an appropriate date, well within our deadline, and we're still waiting. We're waiting to have the funds available to us, and the card sent that will have it's going to be like an ATM credit card. So it's just going to be like our purchase card, but it's attached to the checking account.
Should help us at the end of the year so that we're not all over the board again. Bill?
I'd like to ask for Vanessa, maybe this isn't the right board meeting, but I'd like to get a rundown on how it's supposed to work, what it's supposed to work, how things are involved, because I, for one, have got, some slightly different information. First it was seated with 3,000, then it's 4,000, then it's a debit card, then it's $500 limit a day, and then maybe it's not. And so I think it would help all of us to understand a little bit better how this is supposed to work, as well as how money gets in. Originally, Gracie had told us at bank several months ago that after the seed money, to get any money in, you had to submit the board resolution saying it was spent, and then, you approved it, and then they would put exactly that amount of money in the account to cover exactly that one item. Yet recently I'm hearing that we can ask for $4,000 every month to be deposited, so it's really confusing.
So I will offer to the board and stakeholders a full report on what our new checking account system regulations will be.
Yeah.
So I will,
For today.
September meeting, I'll provide a full report on.
And maybe just send out, ask somebody to done it. They can't just give us a synopsis of exactly what's going to happen and mail it out to the board so that everybody won't be questioning you every month.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Moving along here. Sid, did you get information out to everybody on the motions? Did you send it to everybody? Yeah, but you didn't send them out to the entire committee. Okay, from now on, whatever you send me, send it out to the entire board so that they can kind of read everything, and then it'll go a little bit quicker. So go ahead, Sid. You said you did write the letters, right?
Copies of the letters, yes. So before we go to the resolutions, there's some things that my involvement with the citywide committee, which involves Los Angeles Neighborhood Coalition and the I'm also your representative to the DWP. So there's one update. This is about there was a discussion about Bill Hawkins is the expert on the recycling of water, and that's going ahead. There was also a discussion about the broken water main at UCLA. And apparently, DWP is self-insured, so that means we're going to be paying for whatever damages that the DWP is eventually going to be responsible for. We're drawing down water. We spent 90% of the water we got from MWD this past month. The rates are way up, so you'll see our water rates going up. The water rates themselves have not gone up, but there's pass-through. Anything more that they have to pay to MWD for water gets passed on in higher rates there. That's something to look forward to as well. There was a presentation about the various sewer projects and repairs in the city. There is since 2013 through 2015, they're going to spend $192 million on repairing sewer projects, lines, and whatever. What I found very interesting, when you take out the citywide issue, repairs about $70 million. That means there's about $120 million left over. $1 million to $2 million is being spent in the valley of that money. So I asked the question about why the valley is getting such a little, and the answer was, well, we have new pipes. They don't have to. The valley's a new area. They wouldn't have problems with the pipes compared to like in Vermont and whatever, where they've been there for 100 years or so. So. And just looking at the numbers, that you can see why Valley Independence never went through, that we're paying for much of the repairs that are going on in the city. That we're not getting back 30% of the repairs. I just found that interesting. The answer was that we have new pipes and they have old pipes, and we're paying for the privilege of being part of that city. Just to remind everyone that there's going to be the Congress of Neighborhood Councils meeting on September 20th at the City Hall. And that's going to be from 7:45 through 4 o'clock. There's going to be various presentations neighborhood councils will be making, and they're working on a very good agenda. At the LANC meeting, LANC is Los Angeles Neighborhood Council Coalition, has been attempting to have police commissioner or police chief Beck come to one of the meetings. Every time he's been unable to, somehow at the last one he's not been able to come and talk to the neighborhood councils. As you know, he's up for reappointment. And there was a little bit of unhappiness that he's been sort of avoiding neighborhood councils and not coming and answering some questions. There was an article about ghost cars, and if you saw that, and if you know what a ghost car is, that there's supposed to be so many cars out on the street patrolling, and apparently there are ghost cars that are being reported as being up, but they're not. So we wanted to ask him the various questions about that, and he's out there. So the feeling of LANC is that each neighborhood council should look at, and this should be public safety may want to have a look at this, what their feeling is about the reappointment of police chief, that is, whether it's appropriate or not. So that's something to look at. The other thing is, which is for Bill Hopkins that came up, is that we had a presentation by 5 Steps to Neighborhood Preparedness, which is a citywide program for public safety and getting each community prepared for setting up a plan in 5 steps. And it's online, and there's going to be a meeting in the Valley on September 24th to discuss the 5 Steps program. So these are just some of the announcements that come from various meetings that I've attended. Then on the agenda, we have a number of resolutions, and let me get to those and give you a little background on each. So we can, I'm sorry for not. The first has to do with the DWP and the $4 million that the DWP has been contributing to the Education and Public Safety Committee that is under the auspices of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. And they've refused to open their books to the city to show how the money is being spent on this $4 million that is coming up basically of our payment significantly, and they're appealing it. And the feeling is that we have already passed a resolution a number of months ago supporting the city attorney and Ron Galpin in pursuing getting this information from IDW. Just a little back story that I've heard is sort of threats that go on. This again is not, I've got a complete report of it, but this is sort of what I heard discussion had gone on is that IDW said that if we force them to open the books, that more or less will void the memorandum of understanding that they have about the labor contract between DWP and IDW, which, as you know, they've frozen their salaries for the next 3 years, so that's their claim. Everyone's been sort of hardball at this point, and when you're talking about $4 million of risk on it, I guess some people don't want to know that. So what the committee basically is asking for reaffirmation that we're supporting the mayor, city controller, and the city attorney in their attempts to get the information about this committee. Yes.
I think he said $4 million. Isn't it actually $40 million over the last 10 years?
Yeah, that's correct. $4 million a year.
Right, but it's a $40 million audit that they're trying to do.
Correct.
Right.
Thank you for correcting me. Any other comments?
All in favor?
This is, again, reaffirming and writing the letter.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? One opposed?
Yes, I don't think we should get involved in some legal issues between the city and the unions unless we have more information.
Okay. So amendment 1.
Okay, the second resolution has to do with what's called the small lot subdivision ordinance. And we have the file number there and whatever. We try to look at this in the committee, and we felt that this really should be looked at by Plum. There's from Lang, there's a whole series of various neighborhood councils put into this resolution things that they thought should be part of this resolution. And maybe this doesn't really apply to our area. And so my recommendation is that Plum look at this and make recommendations of how to write this ordinance.
We would be more than happy to do that. I believe we've actually done some of that, and it doesn't directly affect us, but we can go back and look at it again just to make sure that we're covering everything. So no problem with that.
I don't think we actually have to vote on it in the house. So next.
Well, this was alluded to AB 222. It has to do with affordable housing. And this was passed by the Senate, State Senate a few years ago. And this was a way of bringing affordable housing to the city, which would allow builders to circumvent zoning if they set aside a certain amount of affordable housing units in the redevelopment. So let's say you tore down 6 affordable apartments and put up 10 condominiums. You have to set aside, I forget, 20% or 10%. So 2 condominiums would have to be affordable, and 8 would be at the regular price. So what's happened basically is they're tearing down all this affordable housing, and they're not replacing what they're tearing down. Okay, that's so if you had 10 units, you replace 2 with 2, and the rest, whatever. So what's being introduced in the Assembly is Assembly Bill 2222, which is to rectify this so that since it's a state law, they're amended to have affordable. You must at least replace the amount that you're tearing down. So if you tear down 4 affordable units, you have to put up 4 affordable units. You can't. So this was a mistake in the original legislation. So there is a file number attached to that. The City Council wants to support the Assembly Bill 222 to be amended, and I think, in all fairness, it sounds like an appropriate thing to be done. We support the council file in supporting Assembly Bill 2222.
Any comments? Go ahead, Bill.
This has been in effect for many, many years. It's a state law that requires that if you want a density bonus for low-income housing, you can get more units, and you have to set so many units aside for low-income housing. And a lot of neighbors really don't appreciate that. They don't want that in their neighborhood. And some property owners don't apply for it, or they find ways of getting around it. So they must be massaging this or changing it in another manner. I couldn't support even fooling with it, because low-income housing sometimes creates problems with parking and people that are on welfare, and changes your neighborhood. And this is not what people expect when they buy a house and move into a neighborhood. So I think the further we can stay away from this and not get involved, the better off we'd be.
Yeah, I don't really have a position on it because I haven't read this. And I think for something like this, before we take a vote on it, we really ought to have something that lists the pros, the cons, or have a chance at least to review it and be able to make an informed opinion. I mean, I have my own reactionary opinion, but there's a URL here that tells me nothing about what the city's position is, what the penalties are, or anything. So I'm just asking, unless there's a time need to do this now, I suggest we postpone it to the next meeting, then we'll all have a time to review this and see what we would actually be supporting.
Well, that's a motion to postpone. There has to be a second.
Motion to postpone?
Yeah, I'd like to then accordingly make a motion to postpone this so we can review it and vote on it with knowledge next week.
We have a second. Bill or Jim?
So motions to table or postpone, you can only discuss the merits of tabling, you can't discuss the merits of postponing. And I'm not sure Bill raised a good point. It is a bill in the Assembly right now. I don't know when it's going to come to vote. It may come up in September, it may come up later. I know it's being moved on. There is a council file already supporting the city. So I don't know if delaying will allow us to miss that vote. I can't answer that. But I do know that the city council has already moved to support it. And that's the council.
And you know, I hit the link, and it really didn't give me a lot of information on what the Senate was doing. It just said the city was supporting what they're doing. So, as much as I trust the people of the city, so anyway.
Motion's to table right now.
On the motion to table, all in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11. All opposed? 2. Okay. So the motion to table.
I'll try to get more information for the
What? Yeah.
Okay. So I'll try to get you more information about AB 2222, and hopefully it doesn't get acted on, and we'll miss our opportunity to have a community impact statement attached to the file. The last one has to do with, again, reaffirming what we passed on before, and this has to do with the Orange Line. That the Orange Line, which runs along Canoga, the addition, there's no stop between Roscoe and Sherman Way. Okay, and so. And at Satakoy, where there's a community health center, there's apartment buildings or whatever, it's very difficult for people getting to the county mental health clinic by either have to walk all the way from Sherman Way or we had already affirmed this about a year ago that we felt that a station at the Orange Line is appropriate. This was brought to our attention by Bart Reed, who's the head of the Transit Coalition, and he has written a letter which is to go to, which I feel is appropriate, explaining the reasons why it would be appropriate to put a stop in. And these are the letter to the chairperson of the LA Metro system, and a copy that will go to other people as well. So we're looking for reaffirmation of previous action.
I think this might be better if it was modified to say they would put a station in at the corner of Canoga and Sattercord at such time as the orange line be changed to a rail system. Because if you want them to put a station in now, that may have to be torn down when the rail system comes in. And they're talking about that at this time.
I have a comment that we should look that along when that occurs.
Yeah. I don't know that they were.
No, they're talking about having.
You're talking.
They're talking about, just to address that point, there's discussion about, there's a bill being floated in Sacramento to allow the orange line to be converted to a rail system, a light rail system.
What is the cost of putting a station?
Don't have a number. Can't be very expensive.
It'd be real expensive if it has to have parking, wheelchair ramps or anything else on the orange line.
There's a lot.
Stops are pretty substantial.
A lot of the stops on the orange line zone that have parking already. There's no parking involved in this. I don't have a number.
Just suggesting that when we're asked to vote on something, if there's a cost involved, it would be helpful to know what we're commenting on as opposed to just saying yes.
Bill?
I do not remember the number, but I was also at one of the Valley Vault meetings when this came up over a year ago, and the reason there isn't one there is a political issue. One, member didn't like another, and so they didn't want to put the line in. But I believe the number that sticks in my head is under $100,000, which for the orange line and such is really a minimal amount. It's not a full, it's more of a stop. It's not include parking. It's not going to, just like a regular stop. I think about all you have to do is add bus benches and a cover and maybe a token machine, and that's about it.
Yeah, if it was under $100,000, I'd be jumping up and down.
Yeah, it was real inexpensive according to
knowing how the budget's growing things, like putting a traffic light on Balboa for $1 million, I just would hate to see it become something like that. So we want to quantify with some limit on it, or, again, I just don't like approving blank checks.
Sorry, I can't give you the number.
Also, my comment would be that it's a half a mile each way to another stop. I mean, there's longer stretches of that line that are more than a half a mile. And once you get north of Nordhoff, the next stop isn't until Topanga. So, that's a mile and a half because it curves and it goes to the train station. So, that would be my only comment.
Well, my comment is basically we're talking about the county mental health clinic. People who are very mobile, and it's hard enough for them to get to their appointments in the first place, and if you're going to make it even much more difficult, I think it's from the medical and psychiatric aspects of the importance of having something close to a medical facility that serves the county is important. And as Bill pointed out, the reason there wasn't a stop there because there was a conflict between the previous council person and someone who lived in the area.
What facility is on Saturday?
County Mental Health Clinic. It serves the whole West Valley.
Trying to picture that. All right. Any other comments? All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Any opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4. Any abstentions? 1, 2, 3. Okay. The abstentions are Vanessa, Ray, and Mike. Me. Who else was not? Okay, so the motion passes.
Okay, thank you. That completes my report.
Thanks, Sid. Jim, thank you for being so patient.
Okay, outreach report. Hey, I'm glad to say we are moving forward. Some of our surveys are starting to come back now. Right now we have about 80 surveys and about 20 that are email surveys. We're putting them together in a format, and then we'll be dividing them and sending some things to the different committees. Like if they say we need cleanup here, it'll be to the Public Safety Committee. If we need a land use issue here, we'll be doing that. That should be in the next week. So that will help guide our committee chairs on what the neighborhood wants and needs. Let's see, it's also helping our database. We started with 750. We have another 100 just from the surveys, and we are getting from the city about 80 other names that were in our election process for voting. And then I'm contacting IT to see if we can get the ENS names to sign up through that service. So we are getting forward, and our database is really important to us. We do have an item here that we'd like to vote on. It's the Granada Hills Street Fair. It hasn't been running since the last 3 or 4 years. It's scheduled to go October 11th. They're asking for our community of up to $500. Other neighborhood councils have been given up to $2,500, but they do understand that we're in a little press this year for our office and everything else. So they initially asked for $1,200, but then he came back and asked for $500 or to $1,000. I don't know, Richard, would you like to say something on the street fair? Or no?
Answer any questions? Yeah, we'd like to have as much money as you could. We take the whole budget.
You knew you would, Richard.
So realistically, anything that you could provide the local, a banner which we basically at our cost of $250, and booth space for nonprofits are $75, 10 by 10 booth space. There's about, we estimate 10, 15,000 people who go out to the outdoors. So, and this is the latest event since 2009. And like the city, we get blank checks, blank costs, I should say. We'll find out after we do the event how much it's going to cost. We budgeted for, we're doing pretty good shape, I guess, for the county grant, which is getting itself. But anything you'd like to contribute is fine, we appreciate it.
We've already approved $300. Is this on top of 300, or do you want to supplement it, come up to 500?
I think it was to come up to 500 something.
So we need an additional $200.
Right.
Bill?
That was my comment. Thank you.
Next to the letters.
Is this just a donation to the chamber, or is this for a booth for us to man?
There would be a donation, we put it in, you should like get a banner with your name on this council and then blue space or in combination thereof. The banner, like I said, our cost is about $250.
Street banner?
Full street banner.
Okay, or a booth with table and chairs.
No, we'll bring our own booth, we'll bring our own pop-up and our own table and chairs. Right, Richard?
Well, they'll have.
I
I just want to make sure this is all included. In this, what is it? Is this the booth included space in the 500?
Booth space.
Is the booth space included in this 500? Or we just write through a check for 500?
We can dictate what you want it for. I mean, the booth space is $75 for nonprofits.
So now it's 575?
No.
It could be that 500,
Just
we
wanna
give
be
them
clear.
out of that 500, so that the donation is say 425 plus.
Well, we get the street banner for $250, the booth
For 75.
for $75, so we're up to $325, and we'll do something else for the other $175. Bill Hopkins.
Maybe that would be your budget to hand out your own motion.
On that basis, I guess I need to know how you want to deal with this, because we already have 300 in the budget. The question therefore would arise, what's the 300 gets? If we get, say, if it costs $75 for a neighborhood township to participate in a local city street fair, then what is the other, if we were to give the 300, which already is in the budget, what happens to the other, 175? Where does that go? Do we get a banner for that? Does it just disappear and go into the fund for the Chamber of Commerce? So, if, we need to know, well, you said, we can't get, if we did 300. I'm talking about 300. That's what's in the budget now.
Whatever you want to budget, it's up to you and how you want it. You want to spend $75 and that's it. You get a booth with space, that's it. You want to buy a banner for $250, you get $250 and that's what you get.
And he said that, that we're giving them, let's say, $325. That gives Jim $175 if he needs to buy something for the event. Okay. Or if he wants, outreach wants to donate that money, to the cause, they can.
So on that basis, then we could, looking at the current budget, because what we have right now, we could take that $300 and buy outreach items to provide for the at our booth at the fair, and get the booth for free because we weren't giving anything directly to the Chamber of Commerce. Is that correct?
No, the booth's not free. No.
Okay, so minimum of $75 for the booth, if we, right?
Space, not a booth.
Space, 10 by 10 space.
Right.
Okay, do we get to select a space? Location?
Not particularly.
Just wondering how you map that out.
We'll see how much Richard likes us when we see our booth space, and then we will know how to proceed with him in the future.
I want to see how much total you want to put toward the street fair.
And if you're going to get 500, where's that 200 going?
My next question. We don't have it in here.